Hi guys, my name is Wade Besiki. I'm here with Marc-Andre Roubaud. We are following on from the organic podcast. You might have caught that in 2020 during the pandemic. We sat down and enjoyed a nice bottle of red organic from South Australia. We're now here today. It's the middle of March, or nearly the end of Mad March actually, and we're here at the Next Gen in the Health Club, and we're just going to have a bit of a chat and maybe follow on from what we talked about before. So welcome, Mark. Thanks for coming back.
Yeah, and how strange is we're still talking about COVID, aren't we?
That's right, and cheers, we're just going to have water today. We probably drank enough wine and whatever else we could drink back in 2020. Well, I know I did.
Well, apparently, talking about that, we in Australia drank 20% more booze. So, you know...
Yeah, okay, so just all of Australia, 20% more. That's
Uncle Dan.
Dan Murphy?
Yeah, apparently
his sales are up.
Up by 20%.
Wow. Yeah. Well, so what I heard recently is here in Adelaide at the Grand Chancellor, where we are looking after our internationals, they have a huge amount of, there's alcohol in the first floor. So every person that comes in, an international traveller that comes in, they are allocated 6-pack plus half a bottle of whatever spirit they want per day. That's their allocation. So,
per day?
Yep, that's just to survive being trapped in a little, unless you're in the penthouse, but your normal everyday hotel room. That's the allocation, right?
Per day.
Yeah. So if you go up into the mezzanine, we're in one of those hotels. Yeah. It looks like a mini Dan Murphy's, is what my inside source told me. So yeah, that's the allocation to get them through. So is that the government helping through this pandemic to get through it by advocating alcohol? I think so. Obviously, they don't shut bottle-os down when we have a death scare where it's going to spread to everyone. But anyway, that's the time for another story. So we're off it. We're having water, and we're just going to catch up, and we're going to talk about business, aren't we?
It's just 6 months on, or whatever, how long it was, and we're still. I mean, my friends in Europe are still telling me that restaurants are closed. And I hear the same out of the UK and other places where, as much as Australia is back to, normality, and we've had, little bumps on the road. Yes. Christmas proved to be challenging with all those people that went on holidays and then found out that they had to come back and stay in a holiday, 14 days in, hotel quarantines, all that kind of stuff. But compared to the rest of the world...
Yeah, we're doing pretty good.
We've done pretty well.
Even more being Adelaide and with Mad March and the French. We're like the envy of the world for that in that regard, aren't we?
And when you speak to people overseas, they go, "What? You're doing this? You're doing that?" And I'm like, okay. But all this stuff, from a business point of view, has a huge impact. Now you're in the debt business, right?
Yes.
And now we're coming to the end of the government assistance.
Yeah, end of this month. Lots of people always ask where are we going with it. I don't know. I can't predict it, but we're going to see the fallout of what the government restrictions are, right? And
we're not going to see in April, but we might see it in May, June, July. August, and
insolvencies are up already, so especially out of Victoria. So reading the insolvency reports the other day, companies are already putting themselves in either voluntary administration or forcibly into administration as well. Yeah. So we'll see those grow next month. I mean, they're still lower than the levels before the COVID restrictions and the government restrictions. But we'll see if they go back to those normal levels, and then do they increase from what they were in 1918.
And I saw that you also, on LinkedIn, you've been posting quite a bit about GFC and the links between, the comparison between the GFC and what's happening now. Can we draw any comparisons? Well,
I think we can, yeah.
Yeah, from what I can see, from what I'm also reading and connecting to, there's a guy that I on YouTube, that talks about the housing market. I think he came out with 1 in 3 mortgages is delinquent.
Yeah, and that's in Australia, or that's in the world?
Yeah, in Australia. Yeah. So and
they're going to run out of the money that they drew out of super. Yeah. So I think what I've been hearing is a lot of people obviously have been living on that false money that they've
and
redrawn.
also the banks are being lenient and everything. But all that kind of stuff is coming to an end. I think there's a lot of uncertainty. There's a lot of uncertainty within our market. There's a lot of uncertainty what's going on in the world. You know, Bitcoin keeps on going up, gold keeps on going down, and people are talking about this and that. At the end of the day, it depends on who you're listening to. It just goes back to the fundamentals about taking care of your business and making sure that, as we spoke and last time, it's making sure that whatever you're in your business, you can do the best that you possibly can with your business by making sure that if you've got outstandings, you're calling your debtors, and you're asking them what's going on. You're not letting that.
So it's looking at your numbers. Is that what you're saying?
Well,
that's what it's
looking at your numbers and just being in control of what you can control. I mean, we can't control any of the stuff that we just talked about.
No, that's
we can't control the pandemic. We can't control what's going to happen with governments.
No, but we can control our business to some sense.
Yes.
Yeah, that's right. And so Mark, maybe share an experience that you've had recently with a client or a potential client, or I don't know, something that's happened in recent times. Have you got anything that you'd like to share in regards to?
Yeah, well, one of my recent clients, when we were talking, he said to me, he wanted to build a legacy business, right? So he grand vision and stuff like that.
So another Apple. Everyone wants to have $1 billion business, don't they?
Well, he wants to create a legacy business. So he wanted to go to a 5 million type business, and it had a vision. And he gave himself 5 years. And in talking, I says, well, if you did that in 3.5 years, and he go, right. And
obviously, people would like to do it in less time.
Yeah, we're 6 months down the track, and we're pretty much not to the $5 million mark, but we put everything in place in terms of structure to get to where he wants to go.
Fantastic. So he now sees a roadmap to get there.
Yes. So, when you talk about time, how much is that of value to a business owner, right? And
probably not even quantifiable in regards to dollars, but
the dollars will come. But first you've got to build the structure. First you've got to have the plan. Then you've got to execute. But you also got to have a structure to allow us to execute you efficiently. So a lot of things I see, a lot of business owners.
So he was willing to go through that process?
Yes.
So that's good, because not everyone would.
Well, very good point, right? Not everybody wants to start, right? And from a business coach perspective, connecting to the people that are looking for you and want to actually create influence, and then build a rapport, build a relationship, and then actually deliver on the outcome. It's super important, right?
Yes.
But you got to have the willingness. And I don't talk to the people who don't want to not want to engage, because it's pointless.
It's a waste of time for them and a waste of time for you, and they don't get the outcomes that they want.
And the same goes for you, right?
That's right.
In your business line. So let's talk to the people who want to engage, and the people who want to actually improve, influence their business, and asking for help. Just that first mindset is so important, because there's no way that we can be expert at everything.
No, that's right. And so to our audience, I'm mindful of them. So if they are a business owner out there and they are thinking about asking for help, what are the things that they should look at in their business before they go to ask for help, or should they just put their hand up? And how should they reach out to somebody if they don't know, they're not in their circle of trust, for example? It's outside of that. What would you suggest?
Well, connect to what we're actually doing, right? We're having a conversation. So connect to that conversation, and there's plenty of conversations happening. There's plenty of people on Facebook, on all social media. LinkedIn, creating content, sharing information, engaging. So you can engage with that, and then see if that resonates with you, and see if there's rapport from the
from the way that you communicate, or somebody communicates online.
If there is value, right? From the value shared, information shared. Am I connecting with that person? Am I speaking to my customer's problem? So I talk about my three pain points is stress, revenue, and time to enjoy life. Now,
and it depends on which way you prioritise those, I suppose.
And so a lot of the information that I share and content and our share is based around that.
Yes.
So
if somebody out there sees that they're one of those 3 pain points,
yes.
they can go, okay, that I'm thinking about that. I may not have that, but I want that.
Yeah.
That's one way.
Yeah, and that's how they connect. And then they read your stuff.
Yeah. And so what would you give them a tip now that, they might not have time to connect with us, they may be busy, but they're listening to this, and they are stressed at the moment. What would the one thing that you would say to them?
My one go-to is the 80-20.
80-20?
Yeah, the Pareto analysis of...
So if they were there, they're watching this, they're driving home or whatever, they're listening to us talk now.
80% of your revenue is going to come from 20% of your activity.
Yes.
Focus on that 20%.
And how do they identify that 20%?
So,
in a nutshell, if we can.
Have a look at if you're selling a product, have a look at which products you're selling.
Yeah. Okay.
So that's a straight.
So if you're selling, I know lots of tape measures, but you're not selling any glue.
Yeah.
For example.
Well, focus on tape measures, right?
Yeah. And who buys tape measures?
Yes.
Do you know exactly who they are?
Yeah.
Is it the tradie that needs 5 of them because they leave one on their job site every time they go? This is recently 3 tradies at my office, and every single one of them left a tool there, so they need multiple. Right?
I have a few collection of those myself, right? And you like sometimes you have a job and it's like, who does that belong to?
That's right. So I've had one where they left a whole toolbox, and it's been in my office for 3 years. So if it's your toolbox, come and get it.
That's another whole conversation about efficiencies and keeping... anyway.
Yeah.
And if you're a service provider, have a look at what service you're actually providing that resonates with your customers, and what content resonates. So is it more time? Is it more revenue? Is it more
system
stress?
Structure?
Yeah, it's just what's happening.
Is it outsourcing the right areas of your business?
And focus on...
Because I noticed you talk a bit about outsourcing and getting the right person to do the right job, which may not be you as the business owner, right?
Correct. Correct me if I'm wrong. We can't be an expert at everything.
No.
And there's people out there that love doing what you don't like doing.
Yes.
Connect with those people.
And they're good at it.
Yeah, they're good at it.
They've been doing it over and over, day in, day out.
One of the first things I outsource in my business, and most people, business owners tend to do the same thing, is the tax compliance and bookkeeping type stuff.
Yes.
Right? Now,
to most people, especially a business owner that wants to be out there doing what they're good at.
Some people love reading the tax code.
Yeah.
And they're usually accountants.
That's right. They'll do it for everybody else.
They love that stuff,
yes.
right? They're on top of what's whatever's changed in that, and they know what to claim, what not to claim, and so on.
Yeah.
Talk
to your accountant about that stuff.
Yeah, talk to your accountant about that, right?
Yeah.
So there's people who are super cluey on marketing, advertising, and will tell you which font is going to resonate.
Yeah.
What size?
Yes.
What colour works with that?
They've spent time understanding that process. If you're not good at that, or if that's not your inclination, why would you not outsource that so that your marketing, your website fits the target group that you're... Because I want to do it all myself.
Huh?
No, I'm just saying this is what a typical response is, right? They want to do it all themselves.
Yeah.
And what do you say to those people when they say that?
And they'll say...
I'm just role-playing the example for you.
And someone will say, I'm saving money. Well, you may be saving money, but you're also missing out on opportunity. Because the money that you're saving, you're not actually saving money in the true sense of the word, because you might be getting it all wrong, and therefore you're not hitting your target group. So if you're marketing, to women, women have a different to men.
Yes. What they're attracted to, or what they will buy.
Yeah, and just the way the wording, the way they will look.
Yeah.
Now, if you're attracting to both genders, and you need to still make sure that you're not more one to the other. Correct. So you're blending your colours.
Yeah.
Now,
and how far would you go when you're looking to find one of those service providers? Would you go 1, 2, 3 different? Let's talk about marketing for this example. I'd probably suggest looking at multiple providers for that type of service.
Depends the size of your business, and it also depends on your resources and your availability and your cash flow, and what stage of your business are you in. Are you at the beginning, the middle, or in the end? Now, if you're a well-established business owner and you want to scale it to the next level, you want to be the next Apple or and so on, then you probably engage at the top end of the market.
Yes,
right.
So it's a like with like type business.
And you're probably paying a premium for that service because you can afford it, you can see the value, and it's not about the price; it's about the value
That's right.
It's an investment.
Yeah.
It's not a cost.
No.
And I think that's the key thing here.
Is to think about the investment, not the cost.
It's a change of mentality. It's an investment in your business. It's not a cost.
No.
And I think that's the key mindset change. An investment in a coach is not a cost. It's an investment. It's an investment
for your future and your business.
Yeah. Because that coach, that service provider, they will ask questions. They will make you look into your business, and they will find those hidden gems that we all have.
Yeah.
I have them, you have them, we all have them.
That's right.
It's just the nature of the way, because sometimes we're so engrossed in what we do that we can't see. And I had a classic example the other day, right?
Go.
A classic example. Business owner, done a review, found a pot of gold in the business. And then the person said to me, well, the stuff you're saying is not rocket science. I said, yes, not rocket science, but you haven't done any of it.
It's been showed to you before, obviously, because if it's not rocket science, that person's probably already figured it out before.
Or it might be
they were looking for something that is complicated and complex, and they didn't understand. But in reality, it was right there in front of them, and it's simple.
Yeah, it's simple, and sometimes it is the low-hanging fruit, the things that we take for granted, the things that we overlook, the fundamental key building stones. For example, who's your ideal customer? Do you have an ideal customer template?
Yeah.
Now, I have met so many business owners that don't have that.
No. It's an interesting one, isn't it? I call it a little bit different, a PCP, perfect client profile. But one-page document. Yeah, I know. Yeah. I'm just saying that
of course.
There's obviously different versions of it for people that are listening. They may have heard it differently, and obviously the top companies, they have that nailed, right? If it's Apple, they know exactly who it is. Let's bring it down a level. If it's KPMG, for example, an accounting firm, they know exactly who their client is and who's going to be their customer.
Right down to their pain points, what they look at, where they hang around, what type of books they read, all that kind of stuff.
It's probably easier to do the smaller the business is as well. You would think so.
Well, I wouldn't say it's necessarily easy because it's always evolving, because the marketplace is always changing. Yeah. But it's one of the key fundamentals that you need to do.
Yes, that's right. That brings me back to an example. A question I asked you at one of our other catch-ups, Mark, was why would somebody use you as a coach in your business? And you gave me a very good example. I don't know if you can recall that conversation, but because you love soccer.
Yeah.
You talked about a soccer player that's very good, or a tennis player that's very good.
Yes.
And there was an example about that. So I just thought to give value to our audience in regards to a coach, you gave me a very good response to that, because it's a question as a business owner or an entrepreneur that's going through their journey. Why would they want to have a coach? Sometimes you need one, sometimes you don't. You had, do you remember that conversation?
I do remember that conversation. And the other thing that I would say to that is just about every successful business owner had a coach. Now, I can't remember the guy's name that coached Steve Jobs, but Steve Jobs had a coach.
Of course.
Right?
Yes. You gave me an example about a soccer player.
Yeah, I gave you, I think, a tennis player.
Tennis player. Give me that one. I really liked it. I want you to share it with my audience.
The thing was Djokovic,
yes.
Right? Everybody knows who he is.
You said, do you know who he is to me?
But we don't know his coach.
No, I don't know his coach.
But he has a coach.
He does. And was he as good a tennis player as Djokovic? No.
Most of the
so why was that?
Most of the coaches are never been as good as the player that they're coaching.
Because
it's a different skill set.
Correct.
A totally different skill set. It's Now, the guy that coached Steve Jobs, we all know Steve Jobs, but we might not know who the coach is.
Yeah.
But Steve knew who he was.
Of course.
Now, did Steve Jobs create more wealth for Apple? Absolutely.
Yes.
By working with him, he was able to fine-tune his entire marketing, his entire strategies, and he took Apple to the next...
It probably was more about how Steve Jobs was going day to day with the way he was feelings, probably more than that, how he's dealing with his stresses, how he's looking after his family. That's right. He probably had more of a life coach than he did a business coach, I would say.
I think that guy was a marketing coach.
Okay, because that was the one thing he needed. Well, he thought that was the most important, so he had a marketing coach.
But there's all successful business owners have a coach. And all great athletes have a coach.
Yes.
Now, why is that? You would think somewhere along the line there's some value in that, wouldn't you?
You would.
You just and the thing I always find fascinating is why would you not want to learn from the people who are already successful? There's already a book. There's already a roadmap that they've created. Now you might not be as successful at them, but you can copy and you can emulate some of the things that they've done. Why make your life harder?
Yeah, that's right.
Life is already hard enough. Having a business is already hard enough. Having a successful business is hard because as you scale, as you have more staff, you create more complexities. Your complexities change from the startup to the middle to the latest part of your business growth. You still have issues. You still have challenges. They just become different. And today, I see them as getting more complex and more challenging. So why not have more help, more assistance?
That's right.
To tap in to make life easier.
Yes.
And less challenging.
No, that's good. And I suppose the obviously tapping into all your resources, etc. I just wanted to share a recent example of something about Roger Federer that maybe not everyone will know. I was at a golf day on Friday and the guest speaker got up and had a chat about it, and he said that when he was in Melbourne for the Australian Open, he was in the Crown a few years back, and he noticed this older couple hanging around with all the greats of the tennis, and these two just didn't resonate, or he didn't know who they were, so he asked about them, and they were the parents of Roger Federer's first coach, and that first coach was out of Adelaide, but unfortunately he passed away early in a car accident, and so Roger Federer every year still contacts the parents, flies them over, has them in the penthouse everywhere they go, is in a limo, and he takes care of them. He calls them every week as if they're like his parents, because his first coach that had unfortunately passed away has kept in touch, and that just gave me an extra level of appreciation or respect for Roger Federer as well, which I didn't know, but just in regards to coaches, that's how much he valued his first coach. The fact that he no longer is here, unfortunately, but he still looks after the family. I don't know if you know that story.
I don't know.
Yeah, it was a very touching story.
I bet if we have the opportunity to ever ask Federer, would he be as a great tennis player if he didn't have that coach? Did that coach give him some?
Well, I would say he'd say that.
Skills, insight, knowledge, mindset.
Very early days coach as well. Like when he was in his teenage years, that's when it was.
There's a huge factor of importance to have maintained that
relationship, ongoing.
So you could say that super really strong bond.
Oh, it was huge bond to be created and to care that much. So I think that's great.
And that's the thing that from having influence and contribution, adding value. Just when you make a suggestion to someone and they take it on board, and that suggestion changes the way that they go about their life or their business. Now, early on when I was in my modality, when I was trying to do my coaching and just
when creating the business and starting it,
just the skills around coaching, because there's a skill around that. And
Of course,
it's
well, you're
not-
coaching a soccer team at the moment,
No,
right?
I was what I did is I transitioned out of the workforce, and I was looking for other ways to create income,
Yes,
revenue,
and what
I
you
wanted
were
to do in my
passionate
life.
about, etc.
And I went to a seminar, and it was to do with coaching, and it just resonated with me, right? And it gelled. So
Yes.
I was looking for something, and the universe provided, and I went, that's for me, right? So I went on a course and took some time to actually acquire skills of coaching. But early on, when I was coaching, there was a lady that I was coaching, and she was stuck between not knowing what to do.
Yeah, okay. So she was in that sort of same phase, is that what you're saying?
There was a phase of her life where she didn't know what she wanted to do. And
Which we all get into that situation at the time, that's right.
And through the coaching, I was able to say, prioritize, what do you want? And ask those leading questions. She went on to cycle for 6 months from the ex-Russian Republic, Kazakhstan.
Okay.
Like, she went by herself on a bike and cycled.
Oh, she cycled, yeah.
Cycled from one part of, I can't remember exactly where she started, but she ended up at the border of Afghanistan, right? And I was able to, while she was traveling, to follow the footage and some of the stories
fantastic.
on Facebook.
I think
Amazing stuff.
Yeah.
Now, she was at the crossroad. Do I do it? Do I not do it? What do I? Right. But through the conversations, they were able to make a decision and lived one of the most amazing adventures that anyone could possibly live.
Yeah, fantastic.
Now, I didn't go on the trip.
No, but you got to see that from your
But I got to see
perspective.
footage, experiences, and some of the most amazing photos. Now, she wants to write a book and about empowerment and making the choices to live your life. Now, what more empowering story is that?
Yeah. It was fantastic.
Right, and she gave me a great review
Yeah.
early on that,
You were
it
able
helped.
to assist,
It helped in that thing. Another,
And you keep in touch. Yeah, very good, yeah.
And another person that I coached early on, and that touched on finance. She thought she had a revenue issue, and she thought she had really bad skills around money, mindset around money, right?
Yeah. Which is obviously resonates with a lot of people, right?
Common thread, right?
Yeah.
But then we started looking into it, and I said, hold on, you've created passive income. You have one property that you rent out. You have your house, and you actually rent out part of your house. So when we actually analysed, about 30% of her income came from residual passive income.
Fantastic.
Now, as we know, that's already in a certain percentage of people will never get there.
Yes.
So she's already
above what
where
her mindset was anyway, what she thought.
Above, statistically speaking, she's already above most of the population in terms of
creating revenue, yeah.
When I started unfolding and
showing her that she's already done these things, yeah.
Her mindset did not reflect her outcome.
Yeah. So she was a bit wowed at that moment, I'm
she
assuming.
was wowed.
Yeah.
Right. Still, I had a few issues, and a few issues around not managing money, not having a budget, not controlling it.
But she had a way of generating it, obviously.
But in spite of all that, she had about 30% of her income was passive.
Yeah, fantastic. Yeah.
Right, and
it's impressive.
It's impressive, right? And when she actually, and I said, you don't have an income issue, you have a spending issue.
Yeah. Fantastic.
Control your spending, and you can.
She can grow forward and probably increase that 30% revenue. Yeah. Well done.
And she goes, well, what do you mean? Well, again,
so you
keep track of where you're spending your money. I actually have a budget for the next X number of weeks. Write down where every dollar that you spend.
Yeah.
Write it
So
down.
she did that?
Yeah.
Yeah. And then she's felt more in control in the future, I'm sure.
But you go back to that 80-20 rule, right?
Yeah.
And you go back to analysing data. Go back to and when you say, well, that's not, your reaction is like, that's not mind-blowing. That's not,
Is it wow?
It's not we're not creating a spaceship.
No.
Right? It's not rocket science. But it is
the fundamentals.
Science, but it's rocket science if you don't do it.
Yes.
And those small things can have a huge impact to the business.
Yep.
Now, how many business owners don't control their cash flow properly? don't invoice on time, don't show out debtors,
It's a systemic issue within the trades,
Yes.
as we noticed in that last few weeks of research that we did on it. It's huge in that area. And they're also the most stubborn to change their way as well. So it's just a mindset. So you start with their, I can do everything, but I don't know everything attitude, back to, I need to learn, I need to adjust, and I'm not doing this very well like the majority of my peers. And obviously if you look at the ones in the trades that are doing well, they obviously look at all these things we're talking about. So 20% of them are doing it, 80% aren't.
And there's the ones that says, I just want to be on the tools. Great, but create a system and a business that you outsource.
Takes care of all of those things.
Outsource all that other stuff so you can be on the tools, right? If you love being on the tools, great.
That's right.
But create the business.
Don't come home at 10 o'clock and invoice and forget to invoice.
Be on the tools.
Surprisingly, how many small trades businesses send me an invoice after hours, like late, when I would assume that's important family or relaxation time. Even if it's just relaxing from a hard day's work. You don't want to be doing that late. Outsource it. Think about somebody else that can do it.
And these days, there's so many ways to outsource.
That's right.
And there's so many ways to automate.
So you just look at all of those things. Mark, obviously you've got an arsenal of outsourcing products that you've worked with. So have a chat to Mark. Obviously myself as well. I can point you in the right direction if it's not through us. I know where you can go. So
and it's also building networks where you can. If I don't provide that solution, I know someone who does.
Yeah, that's right. Well, thanks for joining us again, Mark.
My pleasure.
Catch up soon.
As always.
Cheers.